I'm not sure if this is the most exciting time or the most time I dread with a pedal steel guitar, because this is what I call the snagging time. It's the time when you actually look along your guitar, have a look, check everything that you've done, make sure it all fits, make sure it all works. I've got all the tuners in. I've got the jack socket. I've got the springs. I've got the changer. I've got everything in, and I've had to change a few things, as you will. You don't expect to get it right first time. I've put a little linkage in the on the fourth pull rod, the one that goes to the stop and the tuner underneath, because when you actually pull the number 4 string with your pedal 3, it goes further than actually it does when you actually use the raised knee lever, left knee lever left. So you need to get that somewhere near right and put a linkage in there so that when the rod compresses, as it will have some movement, so it will actually get away with it, so you don't actually strain anything. Another thing I had to do was on the leg that I put a fancy self-adjustment, if you like, to go onto uneven floors. I've actually had to put a couple of threaded rods down so that I can actually keep it stiff. The simple reason was that I tried the pedals, the foot pedals, and actually twisted the guitar body. So I've actually done that. You won't need to do that because your guitar will be wider than this, so everything will be nice and flat and strong. But that's that. So you do find snags when you actually get to this stage. It's better to find them now before you go any further. I've also had to change the shape of the knee levers. They were taking far too much room, and that was the reason really why I make them nice and fat to start with, and then you can always trim them down afterwards. If it's thin in the first place, it means you've got to make new ones and move things about. But if you've got at least ½ an inch on each one to spare, you can always cut it off. Next thing I'm going to do is put the body on, put the legs on, turn it over, and then see what happens then. Well, here we are. I've got it assembled. I've got the legs on, I've got the pedal board on, I've got the pedal rods on. It's all on, ready to turn over now, so that we can just have a look and check everything on the top. I've put the machine heads on. When you actually put the machine heads on, and you put the strings on, it depends where the hole is on your machine heads. The strings are tied well out on the actual the machine on the bar that it winds onto. I try and leave quite a bit on the heavy strings so that it actually winds back towards the actual tuning knob. So that's a bit of a tip for you, so as not to put too much stress on the actual machine heads. I've got the roller nut on all nice and level. It's important to get the strings nice and level right across the steel, because when you use your flat bar, your round bar to play the steel, if your strings are not level, you'll get buzz. So you make sure, if you find that they're not level, especially on the changer, take the strings off get a flat file and just carefully just level off the tops. It will save taking all the pieces. I've put a scratch plate on. It's a nice shape. I've cut that from a proper scratch plate. You buy the material, you can buy it about 2 foot long, I think, something like that, and about, might be a foot wide, I can't remember now, but it's so long ago that I bought it. You get white with a black inside and then black, so you get a white top. It's like a sandwich, white, then black, and then white. If you don't want that expense, you can always find something. There's actually storage boxes they sell in these pound shops, very cheap. You can just cut a piece out of that and use that. I get the shapes by using tins or lids off of tins to make the nice round shapes, and you can see what you're doing. It'd be quite easy to do, but it just gives you a nice shape. The only thing I do regret with this is that I've got really a little bit too much on the back end here. I think I could have taken another inch and a half off of that, but because it's a narrow pedal steel, I've got no room to maneuver. But normally it wouldn't be that long behind the changer, because the actual tuners inside the back are actually inside a little bit, but they are reachable, but it's something I would have preferred not to do. You might have noticed I've got numbers when you actually initially tune the guitar with the back on the lowers and raises. It's nice to know which tuner goes to which stop, and so that's quite easy. Then you can, it's a quick reference to see which tuner you're going to tune. The pedals, this is what we're snagging again now. We're trying to find out exactly what's right and what's wrong, and I should need to take the pedals down about 10-20 mil. Not very much, just a little bit, just to make them a little bit more comfortable, so you don't have to raise your foot. You should really play the pedal steel with your heel on the ground, so you got control then of all 3 pedals. The next thing we're going to have to do is tune it, and once it's tuned, we can then start thinking about putting frets on, or fret markings on.